phoning it in.
If you're not watching everything, it means nothing.
The large print giveth, and the small print taketh away.
You sign our gate.
You guys are talking about Maven from Tough Enough, right?
Ramble on.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Royal Ramble. I'm John Covey Cole, Steve New, Derek Jones, Brian Resner. Derek, where in the hell was you at last week, pal?
Well, I had an unfortunate
I noticed you got a little shiner there on your right eye there. What happened to you, old buddy?
Well, I was on my way here. I was coming to the Ramble in the bank, and I made it as far as your studio parking lot. And then beyond that, I have no clue.
So what you're saying is you chickened out, and you want us to think that you got took out before you got to the show last week. You afraid Loving was going to put it on you?
Look, we kind of touched base on this before you started the show, but we can talk about it afterwards because I'm not a big fan of the way things went down.
Okay. Steve, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm worried about Derek. I mean,
at least somebody out here is.
I'm all the way over in Florida. I don't know what's going on. What are you talking about?
We all came in the house last week. Derek's here, try to compete for the Ramble in the Bank, and then
I never even seen him last week, but that's neither here nor there.
Did something hit you, or
I had to have. I mean, and I don't know that it was something as much as it was someone.
What are you looking at me for? I had nothing to do with it. I was in here.
Who else would have done it? Who else knew I was coming?
A couple people.
You and Mike Loving. You think Mike Loving's going to jump me from behind?
actually.
He was carrying a ladder.
Michael talks smack 24/7.
He did have a ladder last week. So.
No.
It definitely wasn't a ladder.
Yeah, I'd say you'd see somebody swinging a ladder.
I feel like I'd have known somebody hit me with a
Perry
ladder.
Mason, though. Who had the motive? Who had the motive to take Derek Jones out of the Ramble in the Bank competition?
See? Pretty.
75% of our audience just said, "Who the fuck is Perry Mason?"
There's your F-bomb for the month, Brian.
Yeah, I only get one.
And you used it on Perry Mason. That's awesome.
Did. I figured it was the great spot for it.
Watch Me TV at 12 o'clock every night, and you'll know who Perry Mason is.
I know who Perry Mason is. I just said 70% of our audience did.
The smartest man in any room you're in, Brian. But
oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not in that room. I'm in this room by myself.
His point stands.
So the motive, though, for
look, I've had time to sit and I would say think about it, but it's really stew on it. So
I don't know why you keep giving me that look, Derek. I had nothing to do with it.
Who else would have?
I mean, sorry, John. All the arrows point to you.
What do I got to gain from taking him out? I wasn't worried about him.
Oh, you said before the competition that you perceived Derek to be the biggest threat. Now, I don't know whether this Derek would have beat the other Derek, but you kept saying you thought Derek Jones was your biggest competition, then all of a sudden your biggest competition ends up laid out in the parking lot.
How about this?
Maybe
How about this?
Loving's ladder fell on you as you were coming in the door or something.
Well, if Loving brought a ladder, it wasn't more than 2 steps, so I know it didn't fall on me.
He said it was one of those big Werner deals.
All right. How about this? Okay, I don't know what happened, and I'm not real sure what you guys are talking about. But if you're being serious right now, then John, you were taking this whole thing way too serious.
What are you saying? I did it now too? I had nothing to do with it. I was in here on the show.
Like
the
video.
Ever since you started wearing sunglasses.
I don't want to believe that.
Yeah,
I don't want to believe you had
now.
Like the episode when he was late and I had to open the show. The video was cute. You know, we get it. You're the Royal Ramble champion. Richie gave you the belt because you didn't have a chance to win it.
It was a birthday present, Derek.
I get it. That's all well and good. It's a great part of the show. I enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed it. It was funny. It was a good time. You pushing that envelope a little far, though.
Whatever, man. Let's move on with the show. Well, I kind of don't want to do the show now. I kind of want to hire my attorney to. What do you think, Steve?
I told you what I think.
Do you think I got something to do with it?
I think you're the only person with motive.
I might find me a new attorney.
Jesus. Hey, you know what?
Gavin,
you did look
Josh.
more innocent with the glasses off. When you took the glasses off, I started to think you didn't do it.
Okay.
Put them back on, I don't know.
Look at me. Look at me, Derek. I had nothing to do with it. No.
All right, let's go on with the show.
Figure it out.
All right.
Well, Derek Stowers is the Ramble on the Bank
Right.
winner.
Congratulations, Derek. Great showing.
He's got a year to put the title to put up the challenge against me. Sorry.
You mean I had a year?
Wait, what did Kenny Dunn say?
I don't know. What do you say?
Sorry, my peripherals are off a little bit there.
Is this a KO joke or something? Or did really mollywop Derek? Yeah, man. Somebody took him out last week. That's why he wasn't here. I don't know what the deal is.
I mean,
These guys are thinking it's me, Kenny. I don't know why.
I did not say that it was you. I just said you did a lot of smack talking. You had motive. You had opportunity, even though you were in here and seemingly had an alibi. That
And
wouldn't
Steve's
have stopped.
Perry Mason.
That wouldn't have stopped you from having a neighbor, a couple of sons out of the middle of nowhere.
If my little guys took Derek out, then that's his problem. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I kind of don't appreciate that, guys. I thought we was buddies, and y'all sitting there insinuating that I took out Derek because I was worried he was going to come after my championship.
Just for the record, I do think the big one might be dangerous one day.
The oldest one, or the heavyset one?
The bigger one.
Jonah. Yeah, my
Jonah is going to be dangerous one day.
Chris says it was the damn Sam Squanch that attacked Derek. That's exactly
Sam
what it was.
Squanch.
Damn Sam Squanch, Ricky.
Or it might have been that bear that ran down.
There was a bear down running 2nd Street. Yeah.
Did you happen to see that video, Brian?
I
of that
sure
black
did.
Bear
That's
running
pretty
through
interesting.
Beckley. He was at Chase. I thought maybe he just needed an account balance or
Running through
after hours
Beckley.
deposit.
Running through Beckley that late at night, I'm surprised he didn't get shot.
Right. Well, he was about the least dangerous thing in Uptown Beckley at that time of the night. I can tell you that.
Right.
I'll tell you what, guys. I don't know about you, gentlemen, but I was excited for this week of pro wrestling. It was a great week.
Yeah.
I could have did anything with my con, WWE related, if I wanted to. But I decided to keep my pros and my cons in All Elite Wrestling just because that's the new hype train. That's what I'm excited about. We're actually going to dive into that pretty heavy here after a while. But I'm going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Greedy. And I'm going to start with the pros. And then we'll go from there.
All right.
For me, my pro of the week was Cody versus Dustin from entrance to exit. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Whenever Cody said, "I don't need a friend, I don't need a partner," and he choked up and said, "I need my older brother," I choked up a little bit. You know when the last time it was wrestling made me feel that way, Steve? I'll just say it's been many, many, many years since I felt that.
When Arn Anderson was standing in the ring, and
No, it was when Paul Orndorff had to quit wrestling. That was that was a thing.
yeah,
But it was just something about that whole match. And even if it wouldn't have had all the blood, which was brilliant, I don't know if Dustin was supposed to go that deep, but it really added to what the presentation was. But even if you didn't have that, I think it would have been great.
I tell you, part of the reason why it seemed like it was that much is how rare that type of blood has been for the last 15 or so years.
Absolutely.
Like if you watched Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk matches, if you watched Abdullah Bruiser Brody, if you watched Mick Foley and just about anybody, you're used to that kind of juice. You know, Ric Flair had some unbelievable matches where he just bled to death. The fact is you just haven't seen anything like that. Maybe that was homage to their father, and Dustin, bled like that. But oh my goodness,
I thought it felt like Flair and Dusty. The match felt like Flair and Dusty. I mean, It really did.
Yeah,
I was blown away.
Have you guys seen the side by side?
Yeah, I posted it earlier today.
Yeah. Okay, that must have been on. I'm on so many wrestling. It's just they all run together eventually. But the side by side of the Dusty promo where he asked to be Dustin's partner versus the end of the match at All Elite at Double or Nothing, it was just amazing.
I mean, I you couldn't have asked for a better presentation, in my opinion. The whole thing with the Triple H chair and the hammer, some out there called it cheesy. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed that too, except for the what's his name with the stormtrooper mask,
Excalibur, or no, wait,
no, the guy that fell coming through the
Shockmaster.
door.
Shockmaster.
There was a little bit of Shockmaster pyro that came off of the throne there, and that was a little troubling. I think it would have been better to just make the throne out of plaster and let him beat the hell out of it with a sledgehammer. I mean, if you make that thing out of plaster, he could have destroyed it. Would have looked even better. But no, I liked it too because it was saying, to me it said I know who held me back, and Now, Brian, you didn't like that aspect of it because
I'm a huge Triple H fan.
I love Triple H. I love Hunter. I think he's the best thing in WWE right now, and all you got to do is watch NXT to know that.
Wowie.
And what you said about Triple H being the one that held him down, I don't believe that. I don't believe Triple H held him down. I believe that Vince McMahon held him down. I don't think that it was Triple H at all.
Then, if it's not that, and Triple H didn't hold Cody back, then it was a total Brandy and I want to be the next Triple H. And
he's definitely playing that. He's definitely playing that role.
Maybe Hunter and Cody have spoken, and there's turmoil with Hunter and Stephanie, and they're going to get a divorce, and Triple H is going to leave and come to AEW for Cody versus Triple H at next year's Double or Nothing, which is going to be triple or everything. And
if that's the case, I want to be Triple H's divorce lawyer. I know that much.
Yeah, so that's not going to happen. But to me, I loved that segment of the match. But Cody's talked about it from the beginning. I don't think it was a pure shot at Vince McMahon or Triple H specifically. He said it from day one. It's not just brother versus brother. It's generation versus generation. And Triple H is such a key factor in a generation of wrestling that he's such a noticeable icon. What else would I do?
If that's the case, though, why not have the Undertaker's emblem and set it on fire?
We could have. That would have been great. But Undertaker's not relevant right now.
That's
but it's the Undertaker.
That's trademarked.
Yep.
That Iron Cross. That
is not.
The Iron Cross itself and the throne are not trademarked. So everybody gets the vibe,
right?
But you aren't committing trademark infringement on your second ever pay-per-view.
Right.
So they've got lawyers somewhere at AEW. I'm just saying. Yeah. So you got enough of the symbolism there.
And that's all it was, is I'm about to kill this generation. My brother was a part of it, and I'm about to put him out to pasture.
And the announcer said, Excalibur said that a lot.
Right.
Look, this is the death of the Attitude Era.
Right. And if you even look, Cody's weight belt didn't say Nightmare Family like it normally does. It said Attitude Killer. So he's killing the Attitude Era.
I don't understand why that is the why is that the cape you want to wear?
Because there's so many wrestling fans out there today that can't let go of that old generation of wrestling to enjoy what's new going on now. And that's what he wants to do. He's trying to get out of that shadow and show you there is an alternative product.
You don't
now.
have to kill it. I mean, here's the funny thing about time. It dies. Time marches on regardless.
Not
you don't
Tracy
have,
Lawrence
but not with Vince McMahon. That's why Undertaker and Bill Goldberg are headlining a pay-per-view.
And there's
Well,
people
yeah,
out there
but
that want to see that.
I
Though.
know.
Who wants to
calls
see that?
herself
That's
a
terrible.
Sexy grandma.
So, other than the entrance, Brian, how did you feel about the match? Or
It was
are you with me? Did you
fantastic.
really enjoy it?
It was fantastic. I've watched it 4 times. I loved every minute of it. I mean, Dustin is so good, and Cody is so good, and it's the two of them have such good chemistry that it's just it just works. Everything that they did was great.
And the spanking with the belt. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. When he pulled Cody's drawers down, a la Ric Flair, and then took that weight belt to him, I thought
That was the only thing I didn't like in that match, and I'll tell you why. Because Cody pulled his string out to loosen up his trunks before it happened.
Right.
Take a bump and then get ready, Cody. Come on,
Exactly.
man. That's the only thing I didn't like about that.
So
Not so much the spot.
Don't do it. It's too early.
It is too early.
But okay.
But yeah, that's my pro. We could stay there for a while. But like I said, we're going to talk more about AEW. Actually, pretty much, I could be wrong, but probably most of this show is going to be about AEW.
Oh, I don't know. There's some.
Not for me, because for the second week in a row, I ain't watched no WWE TV. I watched a couple clips, but I've been chewing on AEW's Blue Chew. I'm ready to roll, boys. All right, go ahead, Steve. What's your pro of the week?
My pro this week, since John, if somebody before me hadn't taken that, I would have taken the ending.
That's why I had to go first. I knew somebody was going to snatch it up.
All right. My pro this week is MJF, and specifically Maxwell Jacob Friedman's promo with Bret Hart in the ring.
That was good.
I
That was
met
good.
that young man in April in New York, and if you don't know his story, you don't watch him on MLW. I personally think MJF is the future of professional wrestling. That kid has everything going for him, and he's got that Tully Blanchard thing about him that you just want to hate, from the Burberry scarf to the,
He kind of stole Jericho's gimmick with that scarf, didn't he?
Jericho had never worn Burberry.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know what kind of scarves he wears, but I've never seen a Burberry one that probably costs $1,200 or more. So anyway, I love MJF, and he said stuff. I love those promos, and if AEW is going to let their wrestlers do stuff the way that MJF did with Bret Hart, when he said, "Oh, watch out, Bret, there's a fan coming," I thought I was going to roll out of my chair and into the floor. But this kid is quick-witted. He's quick on his feet. He's got a nice build. He works out really well. He's great on the mic.
I seen something on the internet today where somebody was asking him a question about something. I can't remember what it was. A media guy, and he told him he was going to sue him.
That does not surprise me. Now, in MLW, MJF is part of a stable of 3 wrestlers that have a couple of other guys, but he's so far ahead of them that it's not even funny. So
I was so glad that they give him that much time
Yeah.
at Double or Nothing, because like you said, I agree with you. Dude's hot fire. What is Derek, 24?
23.
23 years old. And I'm telling you, he is the future. It would not surprise me. If he wrestles for MLW now, I look for them to try to make him AEW exclusive by the fall, by the time of TV time. But he feels really loyal to Bauer and MLW. That kind of feels like his first big break. It wouldn't surprise me for WWE to come along and try to scoop him up at the first chance that they can.
Well,
I think,
hopefully
because he's just-
Mox and Jericho and Cody and Dustin can get in his ear, because if he goes to WWE, he'll just get lost in the shuffle
He's
like
going to be
everybody
another
else.
EC3 or, yeah.
Or Spears, what's Dillinger's
Sean
name?
Spears.
Sean Spears. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. You know?
So,
See where he officially signed with All Elite Wrestling this week. Mm-hmm. So that's great to know.
So anyway,
That's a good one.
my pro this week's MJF. I love him. I think he's a great talent. And on a side note, that's his persona. He is an absolutely humble and nice young man. He was very respectful in the locker room to all of the veterans. He was trying to take tips from Cornette and anybody else more experienced.
No, Steve. What happened was Cornette and him was talking, and he said, "You walk up." Cornette's like, "Hey, that's the guy with all the money right there.
No,
Be cool to him.
No.
Be cool to him."
Now, there's a couple other people in that building that night that
Had a couple more dollars
had a couple
than
more
Steve
dollars
did.
than me. But he was just a really nice kid. He was willing to learn from fellow young stars or older guys like L.A. Park. Anybody that he could get a tip from that night about how to make his appearances. And I think he had 3 on the show between the Battle Royal, a 6-man tag, and another match because they taped a bunch for TV. All right, I'll hush.
That's great. But I'm with you 100%. I'm excited to
Fine
see where
young
he's
man.
going.
Fine young man.
Probably next to he was one of the top 5 favorite things for me from Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
Derek, what was your pro of the week?
So I could take that whole card top to bottom and tell you a pro from
Sure.
everything that happened, but I'm not going to waste everybody's time because I know we got to keep going and we're going to talk
We'll
more in
get
depth
there.
about
We'll
it.
get there.
So I'm not going to do anything. It could have been Cody and Dustin. It absolutely should have been MJF because I am a huge fan, have been for a while. Comes straight out of CZW into MLW. He's fantastic. He's absolutely fantastic. But my pro, you mentioned it just a second ago, but my pro is Sean Spears signing with AEW, making his way into the Battle Royal. I am a Ty Dillinger fan. And
what was his name when Sean kicked him in the face? Stan. He's been around for a while.
Yeah. But, when just a backroom producer with a headset on playing somebody to take a bump from Michaels. I mean, it was great. But yeah, like I said, he was great, and when he come up, I think the only reason I'm an aesthetics guy, like the way things look. The only reason nobody pushed him in WWE is because the guy didn't wear wrist tape. I was excited he wore wrist tape to the pay-per-view.
So you're telling me he didn't wear wrist tape in WWE,
Right?
But he did at Double or Nothing,
Right.
That's great.
It's
That's
great.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Like I said, I don't know what it is. I like the little things, like the Velcro on the belts drove me insane. I hate that. I can't look at a world title the same way anymore.
Hey, Derek, I ain't got Velcro on my title.
Yeah. Anyway,
Just saying.
but the aesthetics of wrestling is what gets me now. I can watch it for what it's supposed to be, or I can zoom in on things and completely focus on them. But Sean Spears showing up in AEW, that was perfect for me.
May I ask, did you guys notice during the AEW? Well, never mind. Never mind. It may be somebody's con. It's not my con, so I don't want to jump in on something. Derek saying the aesthetics.
Well, like the dude with no legs.
No, that's
that guy's
prosthetics.
feet never did hit the floor. I don't know how he lost that battle royal.
Oh, that's prosthetics. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, or the lack thereof.
Yeah, the lack thereof. Brian, what was your pro of the week?
Ting, ting, ting.
My pro of the week could have been any of your pros because I was excited about all 3 of them. But I'm going to go with my pro of the week being Talk is Jericho featuring Jon Moxley and getting an
I
inside
listened to it
peek.
today. Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Getting an inside peek of what was going on in Jon Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose's head, the entire time while he was building up to leaving the WWE. Wow. I mean, it was just incredible. I'm not even usually a fan of Talk is Jericho. I think that Jericho is a lackluster podcast host, but the Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley episode of Chris Jericho's podcast was exceptional.
I can't hear us right now, but I'm not putting this dick over tonight. But yeah, that was. I was telling you before the show started. Whenever I had to drive, I had to take a delivery out this morning, and before I go to my deliveries, I usually listen to a podcast. And I opened up my podcast there, was looking to see what was there, and I seen Jericho had John Moxley on. I said, ooh, that's going to be a good one. And it did not disappoint. Like you said, I mean, there's just so much he touched on. He kind of give you the last year of his time with WWE and how he was feeling and how he tried to salvage the relationship, but Vince just kept saying, nope, it's my show. You do it this way. This is this way.
Well, I mean, and, I think you could tell when he was getting the vaccinations and stuff that Ambrose wasn't into it. He did not like those angles where he's got his pants half down and he's getting vaccinated from the people and he's got to wear a gas mask and all of that. I mean, that was 100% Vince, and Ambrose was having none of it.
Moxley. We don't
Potato.
FKA. Ambrose.
FK. Yeah, there you go. FKA.
Yes, that'd be formerly known as.
Vaccination. That's a Metallica song. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
You know that, Brian?
No, it's impregnation.
Oh.
You said that a couple weeks ago.
I think anything with an Asian is a Metallica song. But that was a good one. All of you guys had a good one. Even surprisingly, Derek had a good one. I was impressed.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly, you had a good. Well,
John Covey Cole,
when I say
2
you had-
years
when I say
ago,
had a
you
good
wouldn't have
one-
known anybody on that card other than Cody and Dustin.
Jericho.
Yeah, Jericho.
I'm late to the party as well, but
Yeah, but
got to
you own
before-
it and you appreciate it.
Right.
My con of the week is Derek being back on the show.
I mean, when the Super Smash Brothers showed up, did you mark out as hard as I did? Or
Who the hell is that?
Exactly.
That's freaking Mario. What the
Exactly.
hell is the Super Smash Brothers doing in wrestling? Is that the goofballs that come out whenever the lights went off?
Yeah, Evil
That's
Uno and
my
Stu
con of the
Gratian.
week. That's my con of the week.
How is that your con?
Because you got all these new wrestling fans watching the show, okay? Me, for instance, not new wrestling fans, but new fans, new eyes on the independent product, so to speak. Which I know there's been many options for many years, Impact, Ring of Honor.
And had you been watching
New
Ring of
Japan.
Honor, you'd know who they were.
But I haven't been, okay? They were able to pull me
That's
out.
not true. I watched Ring of Honor. I didn't know who the hell those
They
guys
were able
were.
to pull me out and get me to watch this show. And okay, if you're doing something like this, I love the spot. It's a great idea. But if you're going to do it, you got to have a well-known wrestler there, whether it be a singles wrestler or tag team, whatever. You got to have
Agreed.
somebody known there.
Agreed 110%.
Well, I mean,
Sorry, Derek. I
think
agree
it
with
took
him 100%.
away from a very great tag team match, an undercard tag team match, which is hard to do. I mean, it wasn't a Young Bucks.
Right.
This was an undercard tag team match, and they had just wrestled and had a hell of a good match.
For instance, if like the lights would have went out and when they came back on, there's Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, that would have been huge. If the lights would have went off and it came back on and the Revival were standing there, that would have been huge. Now, given I know that neither one of those could happen, but you have to get somebody of that namesake to be in that spot.
Or just don't do it.
Yeah.
Right, or just don't do it, or let them jump the guys in the back or something like. Anytime there is a "Who are you?" chant,
Who.
I see them tomorrow night.
No, you're
in
not.
Pittsburgh.
Are you really?
Oh yeah,
You got room for one
call
more?
that a bargain. The
Best
best I ever had. The best I ever had.
You ever seen them before?
Yeah, 3 times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to get jumped more often.
Anytime there is a "Who are you?" chant cannot be possibly good.
No.
But see,
And nothing against those guys because they look like they might
and that
have
was-
a good thing going.
And that was the most disappointing part of the show was the "Who are you?" chant. These are a bunch of indie wrestling fans coming to this show and had no clue what they're watching.
No, I don't think so, Derek. I don't think so.
JWoww was in the front row. You think JWoww knows what CZW and ROH and Impact and all of that is?
Absolutely.
I doubt it.
Absolutely. And that's
Well,
her problem, not
I
mine.
watch ROH. I'd never seen those guys before. To
So-
me, it looked like a guy playing cosplay of one half of the Viking Experience, and the other guy, I didn't know what. I was like, "What's this big?"
So they
This,
they
this
just they
other guy's
wrestled.
dressed
Hey,
like a
Derek,
bumblebee.
real quick, Derek. Lyndon Childers is on Facebook here. He
See?
says he feels your pain.
See, they just had a feud with the Bucks in Ring of Honor just before they transitioned out at the War of the Worlds tour. Years ago, when they come through Ring of Honor the first
You know
time,
who that should have been? Should have been the damn Briscoes. That's who it should have been.
That's exactly who
and
it
they
should have
could
been,
have
Brian.
got the Briscoes.
they're
If you
still
wanna get-
contracted to Ring of Honor. They can't get the Briscoes.
Exclusive
Can't rent 'em?
contract.
Yeah, that's why Marty's not there.
Well,
Well, if you think about it, Cody and the Young Bucks, they kind of did Ring of Honor pretty dirty. It's like, hey, let's put on a show together. And they're like, oh, okay, that's how we do it. See you later, bud. We're going to start our own promotion now. So
well,
if
in,
Ring of Honor
in
has ill
favor,
will towards AEW, I can
in a
understand
return
why.
favor, they sold out the Garden for him and wasn't even on the card. Because that's why everybody bought the tickets to go watch the Garden show.
Sure.
I mean, hey, you did us a solid. Here, have another one back.
Probably my boy again.
But even the first tour of Ring of Honor with Super Smash Brothers, they were the first team to pick off El Generico and Kevin Steen. Had one of the best series of matches.
What about talking Alex Shelley into coming back and bringing the Motor City Machine Guns there after the lights came back on? That would have been cool.
That would have been fine.
Yeah,
if you can talk
Them
Shelley into
coming out
coming
of
back.
retirement, right.
Well, I mean,
Let's move
if
on.
they,
Let's move on, gentlemen. Steve New, what was
My
your call?
con this week, real simple. The Judas effect. I think it is the lamest finisher that I have ever seen in 38 years.
You know what
of
happens
watching.
when you hate on the GOAT's new finisher? You know what happens, Steve?
Of all of the great moves that he's
was
put
it a
on
back,
somebody,
basically a back elbow?
the velocity of it is no different than somebody in the corner and doing this, laying an elbow. There is no more velocity from him spinning. Even JR could not polish that turd. And Kenny Omega has taken everything that Jericho's got, and I'm supposed to believe that he knocked him out with an elbow smash. It's awful. I don't even.
I usually
don't
like
even
you,
get
Steve,
it.
and I usually agree with you, but I enjoyed seeing a new move from Jericho.
Well, I
And
enjoy a new move.
I understand why he's leaning in that direction.
The Weaver lock, the figure four leg lock,
The Judas
Indian
effect.
death lock. Oh God, yeah.
It's a
was
movie.
saying-
You can do
He
to
stabbed
anybody.
us all in the back.
It's a movie you can do to anybody, though.
We are used to seeing Jericho introduce moves that are awesome, and
Yeah.
this was very. I hate to use this word twice in the same podcast, but lackluster.
Hey, well, you don't use your F word for the month, Brian.
No,
Lack-
lackluster.
Oh,
Luster.
okay.
And you know what? The first time I used lackluster, I was talking about Jericho too. Lackluster, and I love Jericho. Don't get me wrong.
I love Chris Jericho. He's my age. He's out there getting it done. 48 years old. He's carrying a few extra pounds, but of course all of us are.
What do you mean? That's how I'm supposed to look,
In our
Steve.
late 40s, we're not as svelte as we were at 22.
Yeah,
But
tell it to
he's-
tell it to Triple H.
He's
Tell Triple
still-
H that. Triple
Right.
H looks like $1 million.
Triple H-
I will
on the
tell
juice,
him
just
and
like
whoever's
Vince.
giving him the roids that very thing, Brian Resner. And I'll
Well-
outlive Triple H, by the way. But anyway, I thought Jericho looked good. He wrestled. He had a little bit of ring rust, but I mean, man, him and Omega, it was everything that I thought it was going to be, and more. Besides Omega's hair, but anyway,
Little Chia Pet running around.
and then
Man, you gonna
goodness
keep talking and steal all my cons, Steve.
gracious,
Damn.
that back elbow. All right,
Let's go to Derek's comment before we do. Lyndon Childers says, "Did you guys not realize that Jericho versus Omega 2 was a more violent match?" John Covey called Derek Jones.
What's
I did realize that, but I was not as invested. You know why? Because the story wasn't there for me the way it was with Cody and Dustin. It was a good match, but it just lost some pizzazz for me.
I thought the promos and the build-up were good.
They were.
You know, Omega saying he doesn't train like me. He can't prepare for me. He's not me. He's older than I mean, all those things. For the first time, I liked Kenny Omega as a performer.
We'll talk more about that here shortly, Lyndon. Derek, what was your con of the week?
Let Brian go.
Oh, was Brian chomping at the bits over?
No, just my con will encase everyone else's. So
okay.
Okay, well, Steve stole my con, but I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be said again. Is Kenny Omega's freaking hair. There wasn't a whole lot of cons out there this week. I enjoyed, actually, I could say Raw as a whole as an answer to AEW's Double or Nothing was pretty con-ish. But it still didn't beat Kenny Omega's hair looking so freaking terrible. Like,
Omega has taken everything that Jericho.
Sorry, go ahead.
I hate to even say that a haircut was my focus this week on my con, but man, what was going on there, Derek? Like, it really looked like he had dyed parts of it gray, then wadded it up, and then used a whole can of hairspray and chopped half of it off. It was like some really weird hairdo that I didn't understand. Can you shine light on that and make me understand it? Is this something I'm not getting?
On Kenny's hair?
I've lost my hair years ago, but if that was the only choice I had, I would have gladly shaved my head.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to ask Kenny Omega.
I don't know.
I mean, that's what he wanted. That's what he likes.
It kind of resembled a wet cat that had been dipped in glue on the side of his head. Mm-hmm. It was,
or a dog's hind end, what's got the mange. He very much looked like he had the mange.
I don't understand it. I don't understand Kenny's hairdo just as much as I don't understand why Jericho was like, I got this event coming up at AEW. It's going to be like the change of the guards. We're going to do the biggest match ever, and I'm going to be in Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho Part 2. Forget the gym. Somebody pass me the donuts. They're like, what are you doing, Jericho? Like, Jericho looked like Flair looked when he was, 60 still wrestling. I didn't understand. I didn't understand either of those things. But despite the fact that Kenny looked like he had a mop on his head, only on the side, and Jericho looked like he had ate way too many donuts, it was a tremendous match. It was better. It was better than Alpha Omega 1.
I agree.
And it was a great match.
I wasn't saying it was a bad match earlier for Lyndon's comment. When I said that Cody versus Dustin was my favorite match of all time, probably. And I may just be saying that because it's fresh in my brain and I needed that boost as a fan. But I'd like to revisit this a couple months down the line and see if I still stand firm on that match because it was amazing.
I loved Jericho's promo after the match. That was great. Everything about it was great except for Jericho's appearance and Kenny Omega's appearance.
So my con of the week, like I said, it encases everybody's con as a con. I hate that people picked this apart so much and in so much detail and had so much negativity about it. To me, that show was perfect for what it was supposed to be. And not just talking about you guys, but the internet has blown up on this show. Building up to it, it was going to be the greatest thing. And those same people are just ripping it to shreds instead of enjoying it for what it's supposed to be.
Even the library skit.
Shh. Even the dual librarians, because I know why they're doing it.
That was Smiley Kylie in the back, right?
Yeah.
I love her. I like her.
Yeah.
I like her. I didn't know who she was. I was calling her Bailey 2.0, but I really enjoyed her.
It's great value, Bailey. I think she was a thing first.
Well, and I think she's better than Bailey. I think she's got a better skill set than Bailey's got. She's also got a wider range of emotion than Bailey has. So,
I can totally agree with your con. It does suck that everybody picks everything apart, but it's not going to stop me from.
Man.
It's not going to stop me from talking crap about Nyla Rose later.
Let's take a quick commercial break, guys. We'll talk back and come back and talk some weekly news and what have you. We'll be right back.
Since 2001, drug companies dumped 1 billion opioid pills in West Virginia.
causing over 3,000 overdose deaths and thousands of babies born addicted by no fault of their own. I'm attorney Stephen New. If you're the grandparent or guardian of a child born with neonatal abstinence syndrome, call me. I'll help you seek just compensation.
Call the law offices of Stephen P. New at 1-844-BAD-PILLS before time runs out.
All right, I think my man Steve New has a little something he wants to say
Yeah,
here.
just for those of you who didn't know or don't know, and I didn't know until today, Nyla Rose, I guess, is either transgender or transvestite. Maybe a man wrestles as a woman, what have you.
Whatever she is, she sucks.
I think the political correct term is transgender.
Okay, transgender.
Transvestite is like the dude from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Just a sweet transvestite.
Yeah, there's a difference there.
All right. Well, anyway, some person at
Frankenfurter. Sorry.
PhD.
Some person tweeted about very disrespectfully towards Nyla Rose, and another person retweeted them, told who they were, and the Young Bucks by Twitter said, this guy's forever blocked at AEW shows. He'll be escorted from security. So, interesting. Be careful what you do in 2019. This is not the 80s. So if somebody thinks that they're going to be transphobic or homophobic or whatever in 2019, and if that's going to be okay with forward-thinking people, it's probably not. So,
well, I'm 100% okay with the fact that she's transgender. I support transgender rights. I have no problem with her penis. The issue that I have is that she sucks in the ring.
She does suck in the ring. Yeah, exactly.
She's
Right.
terrible.
sure. Right. Having nothing to do with her gender identity.
20 years
No.
ago, I never thought in a million years I would hear the phrase, I have nothing against her penis.
Well, sure, that was in The Hangover when Stu ended up in Bangkok.
I have no issue there.
Well,
It's
we're
not about her
living
being
here in
transgender.
Allentown.
I've seen a whole lot of hate on Nyla Rose, all because of her being transgender.
That's
and I
irrelevant.
can't help but go in and defend her just enough to be able to say there's a lot more things that you should be talking crap about, like the fact that she sucks in the ring and that her outfit's terrible.
Now, I thought that was a really good four-way match. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, I marked out when Awesome Kong came out.
Yeah,
I did too.
I marked out when Awesome Kong came out because I've always been a really big Awesome Kong fan. I hated that the pregnancy and the what have you derailed her WWE career. But yeah, it lacked a little bit there.
Did you guys see, this is kind of a change of subject here, but did you see there's a new documentary that started last Wednesday on Viceland called The Wrestlers? Hardcore musician Damian Abraham documents the vibrant subcultures of professional wrestling around the world.
I want to start watching that. The Viceland series, if you guys didn't watch the Dark Side of the Ring series, it was absolutely fantastic. The only one I haven't watched yet is the Moolah episode.
I haven't either. I'm with you on that one.
But,
It's
man,
good.
from the Von Erichs, the Brody, the Macho
Do they go
Man.
into the speculation of her whoring out her girls and all this?
They sure do.
Yeah.
And it's really strange because there's girls that, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, Wendy Richter is the best part because she looks night and day different than she used to. Like, Wendy Richter has been through the ringer, and that's for sure. But as far as the allegations go, you've got daughters and sons of these wrestlers basically talking about it. For the most part, there are some of the wrestlers, but some of them are 100% like, Moolah pimped my mom, and then the others are like, that's a lie. No one should be talking about Moolah like that, and they were all there. So it's like, who's telling the truth?
Right.
It's really weird.
But I'm anxious to catch up on that one, too.
So I'm sure you guys seen this, but there are conflicting reports that claim Vince knew about Sami Zayn's AEW comment beforehand on Raw, and then there are also reports that said Vince was livid after it happened on Raw. The question I want to ask you guys is, if this was a plant by Vince McMahon, do you think this was a smart move or a dumb move?
It's a terrible move.
Okay, tell me why.
That wasn't a plant.
Yeah, I don't believe Vince knew about it ahead of time, and I think that it was Sammy's way of reciprocating the nod that the Bucks gave to Sammy during their match. A lot of El Generico moves, also known as Sami Zayn.
Or
for those
Sammy
that don't
is
watch Ring of Honor.
I told you, I only buy brand.
Or what, Brian?
Or Sammy is laying the groundwork that every single wrestler who wants to be fired so that they can go work for the cons. I mean, because really, like, that's what as soon as it happened, I was thinking, I mean, that whole segment was weird.
It was.
First of all,
if that was a shoot, and if you're a fan, why are you asking them dumbass questions?
Well, no, that's the thing. If it's not a shoot, then you would get good questions because you would write them and you would plant those people in the audience. There's no way in
Brian's
hell.
saying it's too dumb to have been a work.
Yeah, it was real fans, because real fans, for the majority, are ignorant people. And those ignorant people are out there asking ignorant questions. Anybody who goes along with the work is ignorant. And they're out there like, hey, why don't you have the Universal title yet? And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, you got a chance to ask Sami Zayn a question on live TV, and you could see every single question. Now, that was somebody's dumb idea. Somebody's dumb idea was like, let's get the fans involved. Let's ask them questions on live television in the middle of our show that we want ratings on. That segment was stupid. And it was a dumb idea, and whoever did it was probably fired afterwards. But when they went around and they asked those people those questions, you could see it on Sammy's face. Every question that was asked, it was like he was more disgusted that he was even involved in this situation.
I think they loaded the program with the hopes that someone would ask him about AEW so he could have a promo cut against them. I think they gave Sammy here's a response for the first person that says the letters AEW. Now just hope it happens.
Now, yeah, and it didn't happen because they asked a bunch of Tweedledum people.
Why but you got the championship, Derek?
Dude, well, do you miss the ginger snaps? Shut up. You know, it was just retarded. The whole thing was stupid. And
we can't say transgender, but we can say retarded, Brian? Come on, man. Get your life together.
I told you to say transgender and not transvestite.
No, you said I can't say transvestite, but I can't say, but we can say retarded.
You can say transvestite, but just not referring to transgender people.
Well, you can't say retarded. You should never say retarded. Mentally challenged, if you want to use that phrasing, sir.
All right. Next.
I will never stop saying retarded.
That's just retarded.
Sorry. That's just retarded? Okay. But here's a thought before you cut me off. When Seth Rollins comes to the ring, did you notice how we never heard once? You're not listening to me.
Sorry.
Never once did we hear that we were going to have Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. All night, we didn't get that promo. That promo was never ran. I never heard anything about Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. And then all of a sudden, Seth Rollins comes out for the third time in one night. And the first thing he does is chase Sami Zayn out of the ring after he said AEW. Then he picked that chair up and bashed it. I would not doubt one bit if Vince McMahon wasn't sitting there saying, okay, go out there, end this now, break that chair, we're never doing this again. Because we're never going to see that electric chair again.
It was just awful. I think so. I saw a comparison today, and someone said that, I don't know if it was in a 3-hour show or the first 2 hours of Raw, 5 matches.
That was probably a 3-hour show because there wasn't many matches.
Yeah,
I don't even think there was one match in the first hour.
You went 45 minutes before the first wrestling match.
I also think Seth Rollins
maybe
walked
being a
out.
fan of story, like Derek likes to give me a hard time about. I like story, but I like good story.
It's not that I think it's weird that you like story. It's the fact that you can dive into this story that doesn't have a match so much.
What
like that story doesn't make that match any better. It makes a good match great.
No.
But it doesn't make a bad match good. If it's a bad
think-
match, it's a bad match. I don't care what the story you told me was.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I think Seth Rollins walked out on that first segment for real. I
You
don't
mean
think
when
he
Brock was jamming out to. That's another thing that was almost made by Khan. You had the Brock party, right? Hold on, you had the Brock party, and then two segments later, you got the Usos having a block party. You can't use the same phrasing, and especially that close
Nakamura
together.
Playing the first one.
He don't speak
And-
English.
Not to mention, they pretty much did the first segment over. They had a
Really?
redo.
Sorry, Brian.
They had a redo on the first segment. A redo, basically. And who does? When have we ever seen that happen before? The creative is failing so hard that Seth Rollins, I guarantee you, after knowing why Dean left, and he was sitting here watching Brock do a freaking 80s two-step with a boombox on his ear, thinking to
Right, man.
himself, why the hell didn't I leave too? And, that's pretty bad when you're Universal Champion, the best champion in the entire company, your number one spot, is disgusted with what he's doing.
Hey, we got a new guy in the chat here on Facebook, Robbie Gene Gannon. Hello, guys. What's up, buddy? Appreciate you tuning in here on the Royal Ramble.
Yeah.
You will soon find we are full of crap.
And we just ramble.
But some of us are champions on the show, right, Derek? Right.
Some of us watch wrestling too.
Yeah, I watched all kinds of wrestling this week, and I was
We're always just bad.
very excited. Let's move on. Moxley's going to be facing Juice Robinson next Wednesday. His first post match for since leaving WWE is for the New Japan United States Championship at the last day of the Super Juniors. Next Wednesday, right, Derek?
The 5th or something like that. The 5th or the
next
8th.
Wednesday.
Yeah, 5th. Yeah.
But how many people is going to be able to tell that story later? You know what I mean? Went from here to here this quick, made an impact at All Elite Wrestling, and then a week and a half later, you're over here fighting wrestling, rather, for the New Japan United States Championship.
Man, a whole lot of people
Oh,
tell that
man.
story.
I got to hear what this guy has to say. Lennon, what is going on, buddy?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Just sitting here wondering why in the hell Kofi Kingston's still the champ. You know how I am.
Yeah, that's like saying why you're still a Royal Rumble champ when you didn't really win it. But that's another news. So real quick. So you guys already did the pros and cons, but so the biggest con that y'all should have said was Raw. Like that. Honestly, I did not like Raw this week at all. Like everything was so stupid on that show.
It's not very often
Only
me and you
thing-
see eye to eye, Lyndon, but I'm with you 100%. I did not like it. From what I read.
When the only thing that makes me laugh is R-Truth and Camilla running around with that 24/7 title, that's sad. And
Is that what you
on the
want, though? Do
league,
you want to
like,
laugh on a wrestling show? Is that what you're leaning towards? Is you wanting to laugh on the show?
That was the only laugh. But when you have a show, like out of all my times I've watched Raw, I have never seen them, like Lesnar said, had to redo a segment.
Yeah, Brian
Here's
was
the
just talking
problem,
about that.
guys. Your creative team sucks. Can we not agree on that? The creative team sucks.
I'm with you
After
120%.
honestly, after
Steve-
I
listening,
mean, they're terrible.
Steve New actually smartened me up to something earlier that I didn't know. I knew Dana Warrior was on the creative team, but he told me that also Mick Foley's son is on the creative team.
Dewey Foley, Dana Warrior on WWE Creative. I mean, if you guys want to know why our program sucked so bad on Monday and Tuesday night, look no further. What in the ever-loving world does Dana Warrior know about booking a match or telling a story?
So what you're saying is she's in the wrong spot there, Steve?
Oh yeah, she's
in
in
the
a.
wrong
I
area.
might have a spot for her, but it darn sure ain't on the WWE Creative team.
Like she's terrible. She shouldn't even be a part of the creative team.
And
I'm
Dewey
sorry.
Foley, his dad's a legend, but does that mean that? Flip the script. Could Dustin at Dewey's age just because but Mick was never even a booker. That's a bad analogy. I mean,
Yep.
How old is Dewey?
20?
So
He's early 20s.
that was my con. That was my con wrong. The pro AEW, I was actually really happy with. And my so the good matches I like, of course, the best match I think of the whole entire pay-per-view was Cody versus Dustin. Great match, storytelling, everything around.
Lyndon, I think you're pulling our leg. You need to just level with the watchers, the viewers, the listeners right now. You watched Double or Nothing for Aja Kong, and you just need to go ahead and admit it, buddy. There's no shame
But
in
the
that.
the con for AEW?
Aja
So,
Kong.
okay, my only con will probably be the women's fatal four-way match. That'll probably be my only con.
Hey, before I let you go,
Look, I'm telling you, I'd watch Riho Abe stand in the kitchen and cook biscuits. Now, I'm telling you, I'm going to watch anything she's on.
Who was she? Which one was she? What was she wearing, Derek? Anyway, Lyndon, before I let you go, I appreciate you calling in, but before I let you go,
Cook biscuits.
I don't know if you heard earlier in the show or not, but these guys were trying to pretty much insinuate that I had something to do with Derek getting took out last week. Tell these guys that I would not do something like that.
Actually, John, you would do something about that, but it's okay.
It's not okay. I just
Hey,
lost connection.
Oh, well, yeah, prank caller. Hey, Lyndon, where were you last Wednesday evening?
I know he's
He's
coming
in
to town.
Atlanta,
Son.
Georgia.
He's been talking about coming into town. I don't know if it was last weekend or what.
I'm saying that you could have easily contracted Lyndon
What? I didn't
for
do
the
that.
hit on Derek.
I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. Let's move on. How about this one, guys? Vince Russo thinks that AEW and WWE are in bed together. Brian, I'm gonna let you have this one, big guy.
Man, obviously not. I mean, and you know what? I'm the dumb SpongeBob that thought that this whole Dean Ambrose thing was
I
the
thought
work.
about you, Brian.
I'm sure you did. And it truly, I mean, that was me. I was like, it's a work, and obviously it wasn't. But
well, the more it comes out, it looks like, or it seems like that Vince McMahon thought that it was all a work as well, and he thought that Mox was going to come to his sentences, so to speak, or whatever. But go ahead.
Well, I'm curious to see what Vince Russo is going to say on Truth or Consequences this week coming up about it. We'll see what he has to say. I know he'll definitely be talking about it. I don't know who his host is going to be because it's going to be a different host every week, which is a stupid idea. Matt Kuhn was on his last episode this past week talking about what a great idea it was. So just like normal, Matt Kuhn was wrong as could possibly be because
it could be good. It could be good if Russo could steer the ship, but if he tries to let somebody come in and do their own hosting every week, that's going to screw everything up.
Well, Russo can't steer his own ship. Russo can barely speak English, and that's going to be. I mean, but Matt was terrible at it, so I can't imagine anybody being any worse.
I mean, here's the thing: in my line of work, if you're going to put forth an argument or a position like that, you try to have facts and law to back your position. You have evidence to support your argument. What evidence does Skidmark have that AEW and WWE are in bed together?
Well, that's why I want to listen to Truth with Consequences this week to find out what evidence he does have.
Or
he's
to
going to
listen
go over
to more of his spewing. I'm still indifferent about Vince Russo. I have been for years.
I have a love-hate
relationship.
relationship.
On my freaking nerves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I got a love-hate relationship with Vince Russo. I do think that there is a place on the WWE creative team for Vince Russo. But the reason why
they would have somebody with experience.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I got to go back to Facebook here. Lyndon, he says, answer your question, John Kevy Cole, Steve New. I was watching the show last week, and I will be in West Virginia this weekend, and I'm kicking your ass, JCC. You don't want none of me. Yeah, you don't want none of me, Lyndon. I don't know why you talk about you go kick my ass. I ain't do nothing to you.
All right, so anyway, back to what we were talking about. Vince Russo could have a place on the team, but the problem with that is Vince Russo cannot be on a team. Vince Russo.
So you're saying there's a spot for Russo, Brian?
I was saying that there could be a position for Mr. Russo, but I believe that there's no way to do that because Russo's not going to be on a team.
You're right. He don't play well with others at all.
He does not work and play well with others.
But if he could, he would be a great addition to a team as long as you could close out his bad ideas and only keep his good ones.
Yeah, he's one of these type of people that
my Aunt Betty had a scrotum. She'd be my Uncle Tommy.
Oh, Aunt Betty had a scrotum. Bam, bam.
You know that song, dear?
Anyway,
something similar to it, but that one throws me a little bit.
How about this one? I'd like to get your response to this, Derek. This is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start passing these news topics to individuals, so that way we don't spend all day on it. Derek, Joey Ryan reportedly turned down an offer from All Elite Wrestling. What do you think about that?
Joey Ryan knows his worth. He knows what he makes on the indies right now, and if you're gonna cut off his lifeline, offer him the money. And he knows WWE's offered him the money as well.
Like, cut off his lifeline. Are you talking about his wiener?
You gonna treat him like John Bobbitt?
Look, I mean, if dude does well letting people grab his junk, then hey, make your money, bro.
Did you see that picture?
There's
of
a
Mark
whole
Henry?
industry of people that do this. It's called pornography.
Go ahead, Brian.
Did you see that picture of Mark Henry like he was about to grab Joey Ryan's junk? Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Did you guys see Casey King is a guy who wrestles for Gary at ASW, the King of Kentucky or whatever he calls himself. Did you guys see that spot from Casey King where he did it on some veteran wrestler and none of the Joey Ryan moves worked? And the fans actually laughed. That's the only time that I have ever laughed is Casey trying the Joey Ryan stuff and it not working.
Casey doesn't have a magical dong.
Well, apparently not. I mean, he wouldn't be the first guy from Kentucky that I've ever known that didn't have a magical dong. But be that as it may, it was actually really funny.
All right, Steve, this one's for you. WWE continues to cancel live events. Last Monday's SmackDown Live show was canceled, and next week's show is canceled as well. Do you think this is kind of the direction we're going to be going now?
I think this is the direction that we are going because WWE, and I've never understood that, why you'd run a SmackDown house show opposite your WWE Monday Night Raw live on television. I mean, like, who do they think is going to be at that show? I mean, these people want to watch Raw, you know. And it's a secondary market. Like on the night that Raw was in either Lexington or Louisville last time, their SmackDown crew was doing a house show in Huntington, West Virginia. It didn't draw very well from what I understand. It did not draw well. And from what I heard, you know, and watching message boards and things like that, people just didn't want to go. They wanted to watch Raw shortly after WrestleMania, thinking that, well,
something good going to happen.
Yeah, something good's going to happen. And they watched Raw, didn't go to the live show. The live show suffered from it. And, of course, we all suffer because of what Raw is right now.
Speaking of message boards, Brian, this one's for you. Lars Sullivan deletes his Twitter account. He still has his Instagram account, but he hasn't posted to that since May 3rd. Do you think Lars deleting his Twitter account is going to save the public opinion on him?
Honestly, does it even matter? It doesn't matter what we think about him. They're still going to shove him right down our throats.
That's true.
Now he's going to have a 3-on-1 handicap match. You might as well fire those 3 Mexican guys and send them to AEW so they can go make something of themselves. You got 3 super talented luchadors that are now going to, all 3 on the same night, job to Lars Sullivan in Saudi Arabia for blood money.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah,
it
really is.
Especially since Kalisto and Grand Metalik are so awesome. Like, why are you doing this to them?
Look, it's just like this, and until McMahon dies or leaves, it's going to be this way. You're going to have some undeserving guy like Lars Sullivan, who look. And is it me or does he look old?
Who, Lars?
Yeah. There's a lot of gray in that beard of his. He looks old.
You got a problem with people graying their beard, Steve?
Well, I mean, yeah. Like Derek was saying, I got a problem with him taking up time from some more deserving young talent who's in the back, like EC3.
This is WWE.
Push EC3 down our throats, Vince, not Lars Sullivan.
These guys are infamous for pulling the. I'm gonna start calling it the Moxley. They're gonna do what they want to do. Derek, Chris Jericho tells Excalibur on Twitter to learn how to commentate, and then he won't have to kiss everyone's ass. You think that was a shoot, or just Jericho being Jericho?
I think that's Jericho being Jericho.
Shoot.
Because I don't think Excalibur's the problem with the commentary team. It's
wasn't a big
Alex
fan of-
Marvez.
Marvez sucked, but I wasn't a big fan of Excalibur either. I can't get past the mask. I just can't get past that.
Jim Ross was terrible too. Let's just be honest.
He wasn't that bad. I mean, it was Jim Ross.
You know what? He wasn't that bad because he was sitting beside of those two jobbers. The fact that he is a shell of his former self, and the only thing that made him sound good was being beside of those two.
Well,
those
in
two were
Marvez's
terrible.
defense, this is the first ever wrestling show he's ever called.
Yes.
AEW is stupid for putting him in that position, if you ask me. Straight out the gun. But hopefully, whenever they have another show, hopefully they're going to switch some things up and try some different stuff, because I'm not against a 3-man
Why
commentary
was he
team.
mumbling, though? There were times when him.
No, that was Jim Ross. That was Jim Ross.
Yeah, that was Jim Ross stammering to himself. But did you see the one shot where the camera shot on the three guys and you could tell that they weren't ready for it? Like they expected it was going to happen, but they didn't know when. And the camera's shooting at them, and they're all like, for like 20 seconds or something. That was really hilarious. You should rewatch Double or Nothing.
There was some bad camera work with AEW, Double or Nothing. There was some bad, like I thought during the
There were some missed camera shots. There really was.
some messed up camera shots, and the refs, particularly the female ref, you could openly see her whispering to the guys what the next sequence.
That's the lack of experience from the cameraman, though.
Right,
yeah.
you take the camera off
Right,
of that. Like
right,
I
right.
thought they left the camera on Dustin blading a little too long. Like
How about twice in the night? A lot of people's not talking about, but when they rang the bell by mistake,
yeah,
you can't let that happen.
right. It's just those are
Well, did
growing
you see
pains, I think.
where Dustin was trying to say he didn't blade?
Oh, really?
They said it was
Yeah.
when Brandy hit him with the cane, so he took the corner, and then he's laid in the corner. So Brandy takes Cody's cane to his head, and then he comes out of the ring, and then he hits the spear, and it was apparently, he says it's the cane that got him, but he was here underneath the ring,
Yes.
conveniently.
Maybe he was looking for Hornswoggle. Derek, this was for you. AEW pulls Pac from Fyter Fest. It was originally scheduled to be 3-on-3 Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros and Pac. He has been replaced with a flyer by a silhouette insinuating a mystery man. Do you think this is it for Pac? Do you think he's done blew his shot there?
I don't know if he's completely blown his shot, but
If I was running the show,
if I'm a
one time, you're
businessman and you have an issue here, we're gonna take you completely out until we can figure out how to work out this issue, because he would be a great asset to that team. He's a fantastic performer, but if you're not here to play ball, you go play for somebody else.
I agree.
Yeah, like Dragon Gate, where nobody's paying attention to you. What the hell is Dragon Gate anyway? It sounds like a video game.
Mr. Attorney, Stephen P. New. Terry Runnels was arrested for gun possession this morning. She was charged for carrying a concealed weapon, which is a Class 3 felony. If convicted, she could face up to 5 years in prison and up to $5,000 in fines. Seeing where she was bonded out, rather. My question for you is, could you get her off? Could you get her out of being in trouble? I just made my homeboy
So
blush
let
here.
me answer. So Steve,
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you.
he wants to say he both.
I could get Terry Runnels off beyond a shadow of any doubt in this world.
I got some
Now,
blue chew.
now that we're talking about it, I don't need that, brother. Now, in all seriousness, I have had a couple of these kinds of cases before, and number one, TSA takes that stuff really seriously.
Sure, they should.
But there is, with this crime, an intent element that is very hard for the government to prove. You have to show that someone had a specific intent to try to get that onto a plane. So
she could just say it was a mistake.
right. If she says, hey, I normally carry this, I've got a concealed carry, I just didn't think to take it out, put it in my car, which you're not even supposed to bring it on to federal government airport property.
Sure.
But having done a couple of these cases, she'll probably plead it down to a misdemeanor, pay a fine. I doubt that anything sticks. But it's a boneheaded move. I've represented a couple of doctors that have concealed carry, and they've got a bag that they carry with them everywhere because they were prescribing opioids, or they're afraid they were going to get jumped for their script pads.
There you have it, guys. Steve New can get Terry Reynolds off, but it's not going to stick, so you don't got nothing to worry about.
Oh no, it'll stick. He knows it'll stick.
All right, Brian, for you, my friend.
Wait. The real question here is, what the hell is Terry doing running around with a gun full of cop killers? Anyway.
Well, like Steve said, it
11
could
hollow
be a simple
points?
mistake. She seems like she's a little ditzy. Have you ever met her in person?
Yeah.
Is she ditzy?
No, actually,
No?
she's not.
Okay,
she's, she's a serious cougar.
Okay.
I
I
saw
was gonna
her
say-
in April in New York, and that
She
night
can't-
she was serious.
She can't be ditzy. She used to be Alexander York, and she used to come up with the conclusion of matches on her computer. She helped Terry Taylor be a winner.
Yeah, didn't she bring a calculator or an adding machine?
No, it was a laptop. She had a laptop.
A laptop. There you go. It's
Computed the
Alexander York.
perfect way. That computed the perfect way to defeat her opponents. And in case you're going to ask John Covey, yes, this was 92 WCW.
I figured it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
Brian, and I
yeah.
was getting ready to ask.
So, but she's a nice lady. But 11 hollow points in a Glock 9.
It's going to work, boys.
She was.
I'm all in. I'll show you how double or nothing works. All right, Brian, Road Dogg is now working on the NXT brand. Do you think he's going to have something to do with creative there? You think he's going to be helping at the Performance Center? What do you think is going to be his role there?
I heard he was doing training and match production, which I'm okay with that. If he gets into the creative, I guess we'll just be talking crap about NXT every week.
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, I knew. I just didn't call about it. Guys, we're going to take another quick commercial break, come back and talk a little bit about our topic this week, which is the alleged war, WWE versus AEW. Is it a war? Is it going to be a war? I don't know. We'll talk about it when we come back. We'll be right back.
Two attorneys, one location. Gavin Ward and Josh Miller.
Hello, my name's Gavin Ward. I'm an attorney serving Southern West Virginia. If you need help with a real estate transaction or closing, probating an estate, a property dispute, estate planning, or bankruptcy, give us a call. We can help.
Hello, I'm attorney Josh Miller. I serve Southern West Virginia. If you've been injured in a car accident or hurt on the job or charged with a crime, please come see me today. I can help.
For a free consultation, call 681-207-7400.
Dorsey's Hogtails, located on U.S. Route 60 just off of Route 19 and just past Midland Trail High School. There's always something going on at Dorsey's, and you can bet that whatever it is, it's a good time. Be sure to try some of the best food in Southern West Virginia. Then you can sharpen those billiard skills with a relaxing game of pool. Dorsey's also offers some of the best live local music in the region on most weekends. So what are you waiting for? Stop in and see what makes Dorsey's so great. That's Dorsey's Hogtails, located on US Route 60 just off of Route 19 in Hyco.
And we're back.
Go ahead and tell your joke, John.
No.
Shout out this week to my friend Brian Last of the 605 Super Podcast, The Mothership.
Now, hold on. I want you to give him the intro that Corny gives him on the show.
Well, let me see how it goes.
Don't forget
Flying
trademark.
Brian, the podcasting lion.
Yes, the king of the Arcadian Vanguard, Swammy's Pappy.
Swammy's Pappy. There's another one I really love.
The post office playboy, Swammy's Pappy, Susie's love child.
He's got a bunch of them.
He's got a
That's
bunch
great.
of them.
Something about the French toast.
Yes,
chateau.
the proprietor of the French Toast Chateau.
Trademark.
Those guys
They have
are
a great
great.
time. They
Yeah,
really do.
they have a good time. If you guys haven't heard, Cornette picked up a new sponsor this week, Manscaping.
I
And
heard.
listen how this happened. Somebody tweeted Dash and Dawson, the revival, after the back shaving skit. So Manscaping tweets them and says, hey, if you guys need a sponsor, we'll be more than happy to sponsor you. And to which they go, well, we can't take any sponsors right now, but why don't you sponsor our friend Cornette?
Really?
And they did.
Really?
They got Manscaping in touch with Brian Last, and there you have it. So they sent Cornette a box of stuff. And
We need to figure out how to get some rubs like that.
well,
I mean, I know you can get Terry Reynolds off, but I need somebody to give me the rub too.
So you keep talking Blue Chew over, you're going to need one before
that's
long.
right. All right.
I told you guys last week that we were going to do a shooting straight with Brian Logan. We've been unable to get up with him. Surprise, surprise.
Big shock.
So that may be coming in the future. I don't know, but if not, I apologize.
What'd you take him out to, John?
Oh, we made two. I ain't took nobody out, Brian. Jeez.
Yeah, I'll believe you when you take them shades off.
I ain't took nobody out. Can I put them back on? Thanks.
No, I believe you. I believe you now. Nope. He did it.
Man,
Guilty.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Guys, let's talk a little bit about AEW versus WWE. Do you believe it's a thing? Do you think it's a war? Or do you think at this point it's kind of just sit back and wait and see what happens? Derek, I'll start with you since you're an indie darling and it's kind of
Your thing.
it's kind of your thing.
So I don't think it's a war today, but I think by summer of next year, you'll know for a fact. I think they're gonna play smart. They're not gonna hit Monday nights right away. Obviously, there's no reason for it, but let them get going a little bit. I mean, what they did $10 million pay-per-view buys. You know, what was it? 14,000. Some people bought tickets to Double or Nothing. They have no TV product. They have nothing other than, hey, we're going to be here. Come watch us.
That's what worries me. You say next summer, but what worries me, and I hope it doesn't happen, but what's going to happen when they have to come up with compelling storylines every single week?
You can't just send 2 dudes out there, or 4 dudes, or 6 dudes.
I mean,
out
yes,
there.
I
Well,
get,
from
I get
what
it. You
I've
got
heard-
Chris Jericho, you got Goldust, you got Arn Anderson in the back, Dave Malenko in the back that's been doing this stuff with WWE for years. But I'm hoping that they do this the right way, and I'm kind of part of me is upset that the show's not coming until October, but part of me is like, okay, that's a smart business move. Get all your ducks in a row before you jump in.
Yeah.
But that's
Don't you think that they will be rehearsing this summer? I'll bet you.
Why wouldn't they be setting up their storylines right now?
They rent an arena somewhere, and a lot of the little bugs and the production issues and the things like that, I bet you they spend the summer working those out. They're going to have a couple of shows between now and then to help work the bugs out.
Something I was going to mention earlier when you were talking about it and I didn't get the chance to. I think that it's really stupid to allow John Moxley to wrestle anywhere except for AEW. Everybody should be like on the edge of their seats waiting for the next chance to see John Moxley. And they should not be able to see John Moxley.
You're saying they should kind of be using him like how WCW would use Sting when he walked away and you didn't know when he was coming back to strike or...
Not necessarily, but they should use him as their main attraction because right now he is.
I disagree. When Flair was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion,
Derek, something you know nothing about.
Woo! He went to Japan and wrestled for Baba. He went to Texas and in front of 40,000 people, of $400,000 in $1984, sold out Texas Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys.
Did you just say $1984?
$1984. So if you did an inflation calculator.
Oh, I got to say. I see what you're saying now. I thought you had a mental typo there.
I
see what you're saying now.
Dollars.
Some of us,
$400,000.
Some of us aren't as educated as you, Steve. I apologize.
All right. So, but anyway, Flair went to other places, and
right. That's Ric Flair in the NWA, which was the number one company in the world.
But they're kind of trying to bring back the territories, and I enjoy that.
Well, and here's the other thing. I don't have a TV program until October. Hey, go out there and make sure everybody knows who you are. So come October, you only belong to me because I have you for 3 years for $6 million a year.
Well, and that's what I think is the difference, Brian, because they don't have a current product. So why wouldn't they let...
They have shows booked.
They have a couple of
they got
shows.
2 more booked right now.
Fighter Fest and All Out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I mean I think to elevate the profile that they've got to have guys like the Bucks out there wrestling in places. They've got to have people like Kenny Omega out wrestling in other places, and Moxley and Jericho if he wants to go somewhere.
I think they've all done a real good job of convincing Tony Khan that that's what they need to do so they can make more money. But in all actuality, if I'm Tony Khan, none of you guys are wrestling anywhere.
I disagree, Brian.
Everybody to be waiting on my TV
And when
show.
I get a few billion from either the lottery or some case, I will let you 3 run my wrestling promotion.
I'm disagreeing with him. Why do you want him to let me run? We're gonna butt heads.
That's why he wants the 3 of us.
That's what I want in the creative room.
He wants somebody to throw an idea, somebody else to shoot it down, and then somebody to bring logic in. Why not? Instead of just having Dewey and
then
Dana.
You guys will text or message me, and I'll make the final decision. And that's how we'll go.
So you're going to be the Tony Khan, and we'll be the Young Bucks and Cody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So can I bring my brother in and make him bleed like a stuck pig?
But you sure can.
You're not the Cody. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Who said you were Cody?
You guys are the Bucks.
I'm not a Buck.
Look, you guys are the Bucks.
I'm the champ. Okay?
All right.
I'm not.
So I mean, reasonable minds can differ, Brian. I like the idea of the guys being out there. I always like cross promotionals. Cornette was talking about it this week on the drive-through, where when you had Great American Bashes in the summers, and you went to different towns, sometimes they'd run with whoever was local there. Like if they were in Memphis, if they took a Great American Bash to Memphis, they would cross-promote with Jarrett and Lawler and have their guys on the shows and did tons of business. So I hope AEW does the exact same thing. I hope they have AEW New Japan shows. I hope they have AEW ROH.
I'm going to agree with.
And
I'm going to
Impact
agree
shows.
with you and you to an extent. I like the idea of having the guys go out and keep their names relevant and say, "Hey, this fall we're going to be part of a thing." But I've been, you can quote me on saying this on the show before. I don't like these guys working and sharing talent with other companies. Once the TV show starts, that should be it. You should be exclusive AEW.
See, I believe that for the AEW contracted guys. I don't want them going anywhere else. But I wouldn't mind having Okada come over.
Too.
And I wouldn't mind having Ibushi come over and performing on my product. I'm not letting you have my guys.
See, that ain't going to work.
But send them over so they can have a name in the U.S.
You got to give to receive, my brother.
I'm giving them airtime.
Luchasaurus is so good to have such a dumb gimmicking name.
I think that's Omega from Walking Dead, actually.
Actually, it kind of looks like Aleister Black. Like they got Aleister Black to put on a mask and just come on over.
I see
that
where
guy's
he's got his master's
6 inches
degree.
taller than
You know
Aleister
that?
Black. Yeah,
I'm not sure in what, but he's got his master's degree.
They talked about that during the show.
Little dinosaur arms there, Steve.
Luchasaurus.
See, that's why you couldn't get Terry off, because you got the dinosaur arms.
That's right. Now, make no mistake about it.
There are so many questions still up in the air about All Elite Wrestling, but their first production was a huge hit, in my opinion. Do you guys agree?
Absolutely.
I agree.
What-
I got
now-
a question for you.
Hey,
Go ahead, Steve.
When did the Monday Night Wars become the Monday Night Wars?
On
How-
a Monday. Sorry.
It was after Hogan's swerve, right?
No,
was
it
actually
wasn't.
before.
No, it was before
Way before.
Hogan swerved. Actually, the day the Monday Night Wars started was the night that Lex Luger walked out on Monday Nitro.
All right. It got hot with Hogan's swerve.
Did you guys see the Lex Luger
Right.
image with Ambrose's face on it?
Yes.
That was great. I loved it.
So, okay, that's what I'm trying to ask. When did the Monday Night? What year did the Monday Night Wars start? 95.
96.
Late 96, I believe.
Hogan's swerve was at Bash at the Beach.
That was mid '96, so it'd
But
be
July of
late.
96.
So it'd be late '95. The Monday Night Wars
Yeah, that
started.
sounds about
okay.
right.
Late 95. By July of 96, they got hot.
I mean, because you could say, what was it? It was March 21st. Scott Hall jumped the guardrail in '96,
We knew who he was.
but you didn't know I was there.
We didn't know.
Hey, yo. So, I'm thinking, and the Monday Night Wars were hot, 96, 97, and for the better part of 90, in March of 98, WWF overtook the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. They overtook WCW in the ratings. And it was still, for 98, up into Starrcade of that year when Hogan and Sting faced off, it was still competitive. And WCW started dying in 99, and we know how that ended. But for 3 solid years there, man, it was hot. So I'm going to have to see how much of a build-up period we've got with AEW. And, I think that come October, there's going to be a lot of that 96, early 97 feel of who's going to show up, who's going from what company to what, because is it going to be a situation where there's rumors of a guy who's going to sign with AEW and then WWE swoops in off an MJF? Right. Let's say MJF is not exclusive to AEW come early 2020. Who's he going to sign with? He's the hottest commodity in professional wrestling, and which program's he going to show up? That's what's going to create this war.
Brian Resner, what was your question, my friend?
My question is All Out. You got the stars beside the logo. Do those stars stand for Chicago, or do those stars mean that we're going to see CM Punk?
It's in Chicago again. I mean,
I know
be,
it's in Chicago, and those
you
stars
could
are
put
on the
them
flag.
there and hope that he decides he wants to come back. But if not, then it's there because it's Chicago.
This is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping with all the allure and the pizzazz and the love of wrestling coming back because of what the Young Bucks and Cody have done and Tony Khan with All Elite Wrestling. I'm hoping that brings CM Punk back because he left essentially because of what John Moxley was talking about on Jericho's podcast.
Yeah,
he was fed up with the crap
actors instead of being professional wrestlers, and that's the one thing that I hope comes out of this is freedom for these guys.
Sorry.
Is the freedom for these
I'm
guys.
proud to be an American.
Oh my goodness!
Well, at least I know I'm the champ, Derek. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
I hope these guys get their freedom to cut good promos, to call their matches in the ring, which is a lost art in professional wrestling. I hope the boys gain a lot of that freedom back.
Okay, here's a question for you. Who's next? Who's going to AEW? Who's leaving WWE for AEW? First, John, go ahead.
The next in line, or
so the next who we think is going, or the next person we would absolutely love to see go.
Well, let's start with this. Who's the next big acquisition?
Hold on, this
I'm
is the
not
last
talking
question of the show. We're already running for a long time, so this is it, man. Make it good.
We're already closing it down?
Yeah, we've been here for a while. I knew it was going to
Okay.
be tough to get everything in.
Well, the acquisition. Who do you think? I mean, it could be more than one person. Who do
Obviously,
you think?
I don't know everybody's contract status, but the one that I would like to see go over next that I feel like is
Not who you would like. Who you think?
who I think is going to be going over next.
Yeah, the most logical.
You're making a prediction right now. In 12 months' time, let's say in October. In October, who's going to be set to make a debut from the WWE to AEW on their
I'm
TV
going to say
show?
the Revival.
I got one.
I'm going to say the Revival.
Luke Harper.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say those two because they said it, but the guy I want to go is Corey Graves.
Oh. Ooh. Wow, that is a good one.
That voice with that product is perfect.
Can you imagine
If
him
I was-
punching JR out the way he does Byron?
If I was going to pick a perfect announce team for AEW, it would be Corey Graves and Mario Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect pair. But you know who I think's going to go?
Who's that?
Seth Rollins.
You think so?
I
He's
do.
He's the champ. He's the man right now.
I don't think he cares. I think that he's so disgusted. After Monday night, if you'd asked me this last week, I'd have said, no way. After seeing Monday Night Raw and after seeing the look on his face during all of his segments, Seth doesn't want to be there. You can tell Seth doesn't want to be there.
Ben Cliff, our friend from
Across the
pond, Great Britain, from other lands.
Says Dolph
Ziggler. It's not a.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that's the reason they gave Brock the Money in the Bank briefcase so he didn't have to take the belt off Seth to do all this crap with Goldberg to piss Seth off so he won't leave?
I don't know. I think that Brock being involved, period, is doing nothing but pissing everybody off. Everybody knows he's making more money and working less than everybody else. And I think that that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are unhappy. And I tell you what, I know for a fact there are at least 20 people on that roster that want to leave. There are. I mean, I know this for a fact that Heath Slater hasn't signed his contract.
Yep. True story.
And
He's been a free agent for what, like 4 years now?
But
he's got a new contract that's supposed to be issued. He has yet to sign it.
That was a joke, Brian.
But out of those 20 people, who does AEW want?
That's what I was going to ask. I know I just said we was going to close the show, but I can't yet. I can't do it.
Well,
Do you guys feel that John Moxley was the Hulk Hogan? If not, who does AEW need to make that big of an impact?
I think
Seth
AEW
Rollins.
wants
AJ Styles?
You correct me if I'm
AJ
wrong.
ain't going.
Do you think AEW wants people with an indie background like Moxley?
Yes. I don't think they will take anybody that's come straight out of the WWE performance.
You don't think they'd take Randy Orton if they had a chance?
Horse shit. They would take anybody that's got a name from WWE right now, and you'd be stupid not to. You would
why I
be
gotta wear these
stupid
glasses,
not
Derek?
to.
Because my future's bright. Sorry.
You want
I
to know
feel
why I
like-
wear mine? To see
can't
through your
see?
I
bullshit?
study nuclear science. I love my classes. I got a crazy teacher who wears dark glasses.
Brian, I told you I wasn't giving you a final thought this week, so I'm going to pitch it to our partners here.
Oh man, I don't get to talk about that. But
No,
everybody's talking
no,
about
probably
that.
not.
Everybody's talking about that. Come on, John.
Before we go any farther, I'm going to tell you guys this weekend at Lake Stevens, they're having their annual beach blast starting on Friday, going through Sunday. Carnival rides on Friday and Saturday, live music by Under the Gun Corps and Brandon Perkins. And they're going to be doing a Church in the Park Sunday, June 2nd at 2 p.m. You guys go check that out.
And still no wrestling.
And still no wrestling this year, unfortunately. But before we get out of here, Steve Nude, you got any final thoughts?
Month of June. Derek, if you're up, John, if you're up, our guests last week were fantastic. They were from a lot of different. West Virginia is abundantly blessed, I believe, with great independent professional wrestling right here, close to home. And I'm going to try to hit as much of it as I possibly can in the month of June. From
Saturday.
June 1.
Saturday. Where are you going Saturday?
I don't know.
WVCW's got a show in Bluefield. I'm probably going to go check those guys out. Again, they always do great work.
Yep. Gary's got a show June 29 with Summer Rae and
Jillian Hall.
the gal, Jillian Hall, who couldn't sing. Yep.
And I know Real Shoot's got some stuff going on in June.
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Conquest, IW East Coast.
Yeah.
There's so much wrestling here in the state.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right. We're abundantly blessed here. Just get out and watch this great wrestling. It's guys working hard to put on great shows. Guys and gals, go out and see them.
Actually, I found out today that XMCW is going to be back at Buffalo Wild Wings August 8th here in Beckley.
August 8th. All right, cool.
A little outside free show they do every year.
Nice.
Do you know who they're bringing?
They're the ones who ran in Oak Hill a couple months ago. Is
No.
that right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's actually where my boys got to meet Ricky Morton for the first time, and then a little bit later, I think it was the following year, they went to the Hall of Fame. And of course, my boys are marking out. They're like, "Oh, we just seen him. Took a picture with him."
Yeah,
It's also the
Gathering is
first
in
time I
Charlotte
ever
in
seen
early August.
Ron Mathis.
Oh yeah.
Was that an XCMW show?
Is XCMW, XMCW.
I don't know.
Championship wrestling.
Brandon Ashworth Wrestling Federation.
There it is. That's it.
That's what it is. BAWF.
XMCW.
I heard a rumor that there may possibly be a special surprise at that show. I'm just saying. Just keep your eyes open on that. Derek, final thoughts?
Yeah, stop hating on AEW. Stop picking it apart. Watch it for what it is. Enjoy pro wrestling. Stop being a critic and enjoy it. That's why you can't enjoy it anymore, because you sit there and dissect it and dissect it and dissect it, and you get down to that detail about it, and you just don't enjoy it anymore.
Are you talking to me specifically?
I'm talking to anybody that's looking.
I feel like you're calling me out.
No.
You need to watch pro wrestling and enjoy it, Brian Resner, because I don't think you're a fan anymore.
If we don't if there's no more criticizing wrestling, won't our show go away?
No, we can still talk about
We
the
can say
good.
nice things about people.
Look,
Talk about how great it is. I hope we get to the point with this competition where steel sharpens steel, and AEW causes WWE to
elevate
Do
their
better.
game.
That's our goal. Our goal
better.
is to eventually eliminate cons from our program.
There it is.
But I don't think
Except
we're
for
going to
Tony.
get there.
We don't want to eliminate Tony Khan.
And Saeed would
Vinny
No,
Mac does.
con with a C.
he's got twice as much money as Vince McMahon.
Brian, I told you I wasn't going to give you any final thoughts, but I've.
I get to talk about it?
No, you can't talk about it, but I'm going to give you the floor, and I want you to make me proud. What's your final thoughts?
You want me to make you proud with a live mic? Final thoughts.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today.
Exactly. That's what I would do.
That's one of my biggest cons, if you will, is I trust people. And Brian, I'm trusting you right now.
Well, you know what? My biggest con was that I trusted someone too. But we're not going to get into that. Join us next week right here on the Royal Ramble.
There you go, guys. You heard it.
Ramble on.
Steve New, Derek Jones, back in the studio again. Good to have you back. I don't care what you said. I had nothing to do with taking you out.
Don't you have security cameras out front?
Ring.
We got to talk after the show.
I think I do.
Let's end this show so we can watch that.
For Brian Resner in Fort Myers, Florida, yeah, I just located you. So if you got any haters out there, they know where you're at. Steve New, Derek Jones, I'm John
Come
Cole,
get some.
the Royal Ramble champion. Oh, wait, before we go, next week here on the show. Oh, wait, that's not next week. Next week we're going to be discussing who was the best authority figure of all time.
Excuse me.
Vicky? Sticky Vicky. Could you get Vicky off? All right, guys, that's all the time we
said, oh, no, biatch.
See you guys next week. Ramble on.